Today's video is part 2 of my goal setting series, and today I will be doing some 2024 reflections. So stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, my name is Tracy and I'm a girl with plans. So yes, it is time to do the funnest thing of all, and that's reflecting. That was sarcasm if you couldn't tell. So yes, I will be doing some reflections today. I have in front of me my 2025 goals journal. I did a setup of this last week, and that was part 1 of the goal setting series. I did a vision board. It's still incomplete, but I will hopefully fill this up in the near future. Since that time, I did add a calendar with some more decorative elements. So here we go here. I really liked how it turned out. I thought it was so pretty. But the reason why I added the calendars is it has the weeks on here. So that way I can put the corresponding week on the actual, when I'm doing like weekly reflection. So I can say like week number 10 or week number whatever. So that's the reason why I'm doing that. That's the reason why I like to have the calendar. Plus, this way, if I'm using this book by itself, I don't have to find my planner to figure out what dates are coming up or anything like that. So yeah, that's why I just put this in here. I just feel like I like to have a calendar of some sort in every type of planner that I'm using. So that's all I've added to it. So today I'm going to be primarily in this book, but I don't like just the chatting and like moving my hands and stuff like that. I like to be doing something. So as I go over my reflections, I think I'm going to go ahead and start setting up my prep work section in this book. Now you're probably thinking, reflections, isn't that prep work? Yes. But last year what I did is I didn't have a journal. I used like a discbound system, and I wanted to create like my own reflections notebook. Yes, taking the idea straight from Moxie Life yet again. But I decided to use this Erin Condren notebook, and I did like 2023 reflections. I did a video with all of this in it last year. It'll be part of the 2024 goal setting series. But I did all of this last year. And I like having it all in one place. So I decided to go ahead and continue that with 2024 this year. So my reflections are going to stay in here. The one thing I think I am going to move over here are there are some parts in my reflections where I'm kind of looking ahead to 2025, and I think I want to put that in here. The other parts that are going to go in here is my brainstorming, which I believe is going to be a separate video because I don't want these to be too long. So today I'm just going to go over the reflection questions and some of the things that I wrote in those areas. Yeah. So let me first go over the questions that I used, just in case some of you just don't want to listen to me talk. I mean, I would like for you to stay through the whole video, but regardless, I'll just quickly go over them. Now, I pulled these mostly from Moxie Life, but there are other goal setting systems that I did like look at to choose kind of reflection questions, and some of them I did like a little twist on. I'm not sure if I did a major twist or anything on any of these actually, but yeah, I borrowed from other goal setting series systems, which I believe is okay. Especially like some of these systems has a lot of resources available online. So I definitely recommend checking some of that out to help you figure out the type of systems or tools that work best for you. So with that said, I have just a highlights from 2024, wins, challenges, lessons learned, things I would have changed. They're very similar. What's working, what's not working, adjustments that I need to make. And then finally, my reflections. I mean, this is continuing reflections, but I did like basically just like little words and not like complete sentences here. So it was like describe 2024. How did I feel in 2024? How do I want to feel in 2025? What am I most excited for? What are like going to be my main focus areas, or at least all of this is at the moment of me writing it, so things could change. What am I going to say no to this year or next year? And what am I going to say yes to next year? So those are kind of, those are the ones that I used last year. I think I used a little bit more growth over the past year. I used last year, valuable relationships. So I did not repeat those this year. But we'll go ahead and I'm going to keep this open. So I'm just going to make cute decorative pages because I like to do that in my journals. I'll make it fun to kind of look at later. So again, those are my focus areas and my intentions. I think 2 pages will be enough. Word of the year, and then 25 and 25 bucket list. I think I'm okay to continue going. I think I want to keep the same washi tape. Now, once I start doing like monthly setups and stuff, I'm not going to get all fancy, but I think it'd be kind of fun. I think what I'm going to do here, just an FYI, is I think I want to do like waterfall tabs. So I'm going to cut some of these pages because I'll do the reflection. So basically, I will be transferring this information over here, and then I will start brainstorming in the next video on these pages. So I will probably reserve 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe this many. Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll cut this many pages. Okay, so with that said, you'll kind of see what I'm doing, but I just kind of wanted to explain it while, because I'm going to just start talking about other things. Actually, I don't think I need that many pages. Let's cut these 2. All right, so my highlights from 2024. I'm not going to go over all of my highlights because some of them are irrelevant, but I'll kind of chat about what I learned by going over my highlights because I feel like that's always interesting. It's not always what you put down. It's what you find out about yourself as you're reflecting is kind of how this process went for me, which is why I highly recommend reflecting. It's not very fun, but sometimes you just learn a lot. Not, like I said, not necessarily in the reflection itself, but more so in just like the thought process that kind of went along with it. Okay, I'm not going to take that much paper out of this though. All right, so my highlights from 2024, as I was writing them down, I realized that they were like actual major events that happened in my life. So, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. So like everything on here was like Egypt, Go Wild, the zoo with the parents, Greenbrier with coworkers. But then I did put my growth on YouTube, and then I really enjoyed like the creative outlets. I think it was a way for me to distress. But I was kind of disappointed that I could only think of these major events when it came to highlights of the year, because I think that there are other things that happened this year. Maybe milestones that I met or something like that, but I'm just having a hard time thinking about them. And I think that's the problem when you don't reflect throughout the year. And I mentioned this last year, y'all. Here we go, broken record. It's easy to remember like what went wrong through the year when you're like reflecting at the end of the year, but sometimes it's hard to remember what went right unless your successes are at the end of the year. But like if a lot of your successes were like earlier on this year, it might like kind of, it's not out of sight, out of mind, but like a long time, if it happened a long time ago, i.e. like 6+ months ago, then it is kind of like out of mind because it happened so long ago. So that's why reflecting is so important to do throughout the year. And I'm telling myself that because, yeah, I really need to do that this year. So I will say the reason why these were highlights, like I talk about my trip to Egypt a lot. It's because I think it was during my last video, I was talking about like how I am like a shy person. I'm an introvert. I'm an only child. That's where some of that comes from. But the thing that I kind of want to mention about that is I took the plunge and went ahead, and like the old Tracy would not have taken a solo trip that is in a completely different country. The other Tracy would have like kept holding out in the hopes that she could talk someone into going with her. which, you know, may one day happen, but the odds of that were probably slim, just considering that it's a pretty big expense. And when it's a pretty big expense, you have to find people that also see that one trip that you want to go on as like part of their dream vacation too. And they might not see Egypt as a place they want to go. They might rather go somewhere else. I feel like I need something thicker there. Oh, I know what it is. I didn't cut this straight. So, yeah, so that's the reason why I consider that a big milestone, because I did something that is kind of out of the norm for me. It's something that a couple of years ago, I don't think I ever would have thought about doing. Maybe I could have gotten the courage to do maybe a local solo trip, like, you know, somewhere stateside. I don't know. That probably would have been difficult too. But like definitely like a long flight, spending time in the airport by yourself, you know, international flights are long, a lot of airport time. I feel like all of that kind of made things a little difficult. And then Go Wild, same kind of concept. I didn't know anybody going into Go Wild. This was my first one. And I feel like a lot of people can probably say the same thing. Like your first ever Go Wild or planner conference experience, you go by yourself. Actually, let's just not say planner conference. What about work conferences or any kind of thing like that? You know, it's a good experience. You want to go because you're going to learn a lot and everything like that. But it's a little stressful just when you don't know anybody and you're going by yourself. You know that you have an opportunity to meet tons of people because of how the conferences are structured. You'll be sitting with people and chatting with them, but still, it's nerve-wracking. So that's why I kind of put that down. Plus, they were just highlights of the year in general. Y'all, this is taking forever. Let me finish cutting this first. All right, I think I need to change my blade. I think that's the problem with that X-Acto knife. All right, so yeah, that's why I put that. And then, of course, the zoo with my parents. That was just a memorable time because they had never been before. And one of my goals this year was to do things that were like activities more with my parents. Because I think that they would like to do stuff. They just don't really do stuff on their own. I mean, they go out to eat and stuff like that, but not like, you know, like going to the zoo or something. So that's why I said that. And then, you know, there's just a couple of other things. But my main takeaway from this is I could only remember the big events, which means I need to do a better job at reflecting this upcoming year. So my wins for the year. My wins for the year, I started budgeting. Yay for me. When I say budgeting, I've been finance tracking. But budgeting as far as the past quarter, I started kind of looking at my funds a little bit more and trying to be a little bit more responsible. Let's put it that way. I thought just tracking my funds would lead to being responsible, and sometimes it did, but sometimes it didn't. So I'm trying to be more consistently responsible, and that's the reason why I put that down. Self-care, that's something that was a major goal of mine throughout 2024. It will probably remain a goal of mine in different ways. I think I'm going to be more specific when it comes to like what I mean by self-care when it comes to goal setting. But in general, self-care, I think it took to the end of this year to be like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So what I did is I purchased like a massage membership. I also started going to the chiropractor. Why I decided to do both things at once, I don't know. But it is helpful, especially because chiropractor is covered mostly by insurance. So I only have to pay like a co-payment. But yeah, but I think they're definitely going to help me feel better as far as like self-care goes there. But they're also going to help me, how do I say this? They're also going to help me mentally kind of be better as far as like de-stressing and things of that nature. Because I feel like when I do get a massage, obviously, those of you that have had one can probably feel me on this one. You do kind of, when you're relaxing, you do kind of like put everything behind you for that brief period of time. Okay, what is this called? Prep work. So that's kind of why I put that on there, because it took me a long time to do it. And a part of the reason I was thinking about the price, but sometimes investing in yourself and investing in self-care is worth like trying to budget for that. So I put that on there. Then I put so much reading, and then I put so much less TV time. Just because I find that, again, when we talk about mental self-care, I feel like reading is the one kind of activity. When I'm reading, I'm kind of like lost in the book, and I'm not really, I'm unable, let's just say I'm unable to really think about other things that I have to do because I'm so lost in the book. However, when I watch TV, a lot of times I am thinking about, oh, should I, maybe I should do this. Or a lot of times when I'm watching TV, I'm actually multitasking. So that's not good either, because you're definitely not shutting off. You're still like doing stuff. Even if it's fun stuff, I'm still not shutting it off, or like I'm not shutting my brain off to like other things. I don't like the way this looks. So yeah. And then the last one on here was learning more about myself. And that came from just kind of goal setting in general. I think I would have learned a lot more if I would have done the reflections. But I feel like the one thing, and I'll kind of get into that in a minute, so I don't want to go into it, but I feel like just doing the goals on a monthly basis, and for the most part, I did weekly action steps. When I did not always reach those goals, there were typical reasons why. And I feel like that taught me a lot of things about myself and maybe how I need to approach certain tasks in the future. Some of them I think I knew subconsciously, but I probably should turn it like this and I could probably get it straight. My challenges was mental burnout. And I don't know that it was mental burnout in the sense from like stress or anything like that. I think it was just mental burnout, because it's just, I've been like mentally all over the place probably the past, I would say the second half of the year has probably been like a struggle just mentally with like anxiety, depression, things that most people or a lot of people deal with on a regular basis. But that in itself can be mentally exhausting. So I kind of, that's kind of been one of the challenges, because for me, and I know I've mentioned this when I do my fitness planner setups, and I was like, I haven't done this week, and I haven't done that this week. And I'm like, I'm stressed out or something. And I talk about how, like working out would probably be a great tool in that sense, because when you're stressed out, working out can make you feel better. But when you're dealing with like just mental when you're dealing with anxiety or just feeling down, it's hard to even do that. So like you just sit there and you don't do anything. So that's been probably one of my biggest struggles this year when it comes to achieving my goals, and really much every area of my life. I can't like pinpoint one area over another that impacted more. I think it's all areas of my life. Because spending, I do see a trend with increased spending. Of course, this like folded over on me. I don't feel like, but yeah, I noticed that when my emotions are sometimes tied to increased spending habits, especially like on non-essential things, because it makes me feel better. Socializing, I don't feel like socializing, so I will socialize even less, or sometimes even cancel plans that I've already made. And then of course we just talked about exercise, but also obviously when you're not feeling good, what do you want? You want all the bad foods. And then for me personally, it's really impacted just overall eating, because I've been snacking a lot as my meals. So I haven't been eating real meals, like balanced meals, which is that's the reason why I've been having that as a goal over and over again, because I just haven't been doing a lot of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my challenges. Consistency has been an issue. And then sometimes when I get certain thoughts, it's hard for me to have like stop thinking those thoughts. And that is just kind of general like stress type stuff, like a stressor type thing or anxiety. Like if you have something to do, I can't like stop thinking about it until it's done. I just can't relax. I can't shut my brain off kind of thing. So that's also been a pretty big challenge in my kind of life when it comes to all that fun stuff. Lessons learned is I don't do well when things are up in the air. So obviously, as a planner, I like to have things planned, and we know that there are things that are like out of our control. And there are times like, especially I think I'm talking more like work related, when like the deadline's unknown. And when the deadline's unknown, oh my gosh, like that to me, like I would rather know that the deadline's 2 days from now versus having the possibility of it being like next week or next month or 2 days from now. Like I just don't do well with that. It's just hard for me to be productive in general and everything when it comes to things like that. So that's just something that I've learned. I don't know how I can like how I can change that. But I do know that at that time I probably need to practice a little bit more self-care. Because a lot of the stress and stuff is coming just from the unknown, and that's out of my control. That's something that I can't change. And then it's like, I need structure, and I've been using a daily planner since July 2023. And like I mentioned several times, for those of you that are new to my channel, I'll just mention this because this will kind of make sense. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I do have a professional like 9-to-5 job. It's a small office. It's like a hybrid work schedule. So I do work from home the majority of the time, but sometimes I do go into the office. So yeah, I just kind of bring that up because when we're looking at kind of my lessons learned, I don't feel like I have a crazy busy schedule, but the daily, especially the daily hourly, has helped me structure my life a lot more. So even though things might not be busy, I feel like it has helped with my overall productivity, just structuring things more in that hourly daily layout. However, the one thing that I know is I need to be more specific. So I can't just say morning routine and check it off. Like even if I say morning routine, I need to in my head realize that the morning routine consists of the 6 things that I need to do in the morning, and doing like the 3 main things doesn't count as getting it done. Does that make sense? So that's kind of, because sometimes in your morning routine you might have these little things that aren't as important, but they're still part of my routine for a reason. So that's kind of what I mean there. Things I would have changed, these are kind of getting more I don't know if these are going to impact my goals or not. But I have some not silly ones, but I have like more outdoor times because I've been a hermit, and talking about my mental well-being, maybe being outside. People say that always makes you feel better. So, that's things that I probably would have liked to change. More fun activities with my parents. Because like I said, one of those was the highlight of this year. Reach out to more friends. I was pretty good about reaching out to my friends. Like the 2 a week, or having 2 outings a month. But I feel like I need to kind of go above and beyond, especially on the months that I'm better. Meaning like the months where my schedule's not as busy. The months that I have the time to reach goals, I need to do more than just reach them. I need to exceed at them or exceed those goals. So I just need to make sure to do more. Be more social. It's always going to be a struggle for me, but I definitely need to plan a little bit more in advance. And then consistent with my health goals. Overthinking is the one problem, and that has to do with not being able to shut my brain off, because the more I think, the more I end up talking myself out of things, and I really don't want to do that. And I'm talking about those things that talking myself like out of them isn't like it puts me in a better spot. It just like, I'm talking about more like activities and stuff. I'm not talking about like purchases, because sometimes talking yourself out of a purchase is good. But I'm just talking about like, let's talk about socially. Because of my social anxiety, I'll make plans, but then if it's like a week away, I might talk myself out of them and then not follow through with them type thing. And then more of a focus on my word of the year. I did not do that as much during the second half of the year. My word of the year was now. And I felt like that was a perfect word of the year for me because, again, I was one that could talk myself out of doing stuff if it, and I was committing to stuff per se, or putting things off has always been something that I do. And I felt like focusing on doing something now or doing it now and not putting it off until later was something that I needed to kind of mainly focus on this year. And I felt like I did pretty good during the first half of the year. But then I started slowing, and then I came to a halt during the end of the year. So what's working? We already talked about my budgeting and financial tracking. Not that like I'm in the best spot when it comes to budgeting, but at least the concept is working for me. Staying on top of medical appointments. I'm trying to find something positive when it comes to health and wellness. Scheduling time with friends. Again, I did a decent job of doing that. I've did that a lot more this year than I have in past years, but I just need to do more of that. Creative outlets as a hobby, because it became a way to distress, which that is a huge thing for me. So now I'm de-stressing with journaling, filming YouTube videos, and let's see what else. Oh, massages. So I'm and reading. I'm like really coming up on that. Hopefully it'll work. And incorporating work into daily planning, that has helped with the whole like work-life balance and things of that nature. So what's not working? I already said, sometimes I find that I do the bare minimum to reach my goals. I really don't prioritize the challenging activities or the challenging goals. I start with the easiest ones, and then I just keep putting off the things that I really don't want to do. Socializing, sticking to routines. Routines has been a hard one for me. Sticking to a health regimen. That's not just the physical stuff, that's the vitamins and supplements, and optimism. I will say when it comes to socializing, the one thing I know is like, I really am thankful to have this YouTube channel and be part of the planner community on like YouTube and Instagram, because I feel like I have friends, as someone who like, is a hermit and stuff like that. Sometimes, it's nice to have these social media friends, and I get to chat with you guys. But sometimes because of that, I don't realize how much of a hermit I am. I forget sometimes, I haven't gone out of the house in like 3 days because I am doing this. So sometimes I feel like, I'm like, I consider, social media and things like that as a win this year and a positive. The double-edged sword is I don't realize that I'm lacking in other areas, especially the social aspect, because I feel like I'm being social on social media. Does that make sense? It's probably a similar concept that gamers have, like the interactive gamers. So adjustments, I need to shift my mindset. I think we can probably all kind of agree to that to some extent. I need to focus on follow through. I need to make realistic routines and stick with them. And that's going to mean that I can't think that I'm going to create one routine for 1 week and have it work across all aspects of my life, or have it work the next month. I feel like my routines need to keep getting revisited because of life changes. The routines don't need to be adjusted. And this year I am going to have routines for multiple areas or multiple days. So like I'm going to have a telework routine, a routine for the days I have to go into the office. I'm gonna have like a Saturday routine and a Sunday routine, because the Saturdays and Sundays differ, and then the telework and in-office days differ. But again, I'm gonna have to reevaluate those routines as changes happen in my life. And that means if work gets busier and maybe I don't have a consistent schedule, then that's gonna change things. If maybe I start socializing more, then that's gonna change my routines up just a little bit. So I just need to account for that and be flexible when it comes to trying new routines or changing up my routines every couple of weeks or every month. That's perfectly fine. So I know they said you need to continue with the routines until they become a habit. but I feel like a lot of my routines are going to change based on like what's going on. Not necessarily my morning routine, but the evening routine and even the night routine could change based on what's going on. And I need to do weekly reflections. And I put daily in with the question mark because I don't know that I'm going to do daily reflections, but I do think I want to utilize some of the daily pages in my health and wellness and my catch-all to kind of do like one line reflection, at least on certain aspects of my life. So we'll see. I'm not going to focus on it or stress about that, but we'll see. And then consistency. And that means that if I fall off, I need to just be consistent about getting back on track. And then focus on the mental health. All right, this has turned out to be a long video. I like to chat, guys. I'm sorry. So reflections describe 2024. I put adventures in parentheses. I did solo, inconsistent, and mostly forgetful. And that basically came from like the highlights and the wins because I can't remember things that happened. That was probably being a little negative there. I probably could have been a little bit positive, but that's what I'm going to say for now. How did I feel? I said down, anxious, stressed, and blah. Again, I mean, I guess I'm just not feeling that great about this year, although this year has been a pretty good year. When I look at, like I said, my highlights, I had some pretty big highlights, even though it's not that many, they were huge. How do I want to feel? Optimistic, calm, and confident. I'm most excited for in 2025, a new mindset, traveling, which I am still trying to figure out a travel plan. I really hope Go Wild will hurry up and release what's going to happen. Because as of the filming of this video, they have not. I'm hoping it's not going to be in the fall because I cannot travel in the fall due to work. But they're pushing it where I feel like it's going to be the summer or fall, and I might not be able to do that. But I would like to still travel somewhere else. I am looking into a possible cruise, so we'll see. And then continuing to reconnect and also connecting with friends, or maybe making new friends, right? As part of social. Focus is going to be health, and that's like the nutrition and exercise aspect of it. So more physical health as well as mental health, and then social. There are other things I'm going to be focusing on, but those have to be priority for me. What am I going to say no to? Self-sabotage, overthinking, negativity. What am I going to say yes to? New challenges and adventures, social activities, and who knows, maybe even dating. The hermit girl might actually get out of the house. So y'all, that is my reflection. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do this on camera. I just read it. The stuff here, I'm going to put here. It'll take up one page. Here I was a little... like I knew I have the space, so I did it. So I'm going to do that here. And then next week when we come in to do the brainstorming, I will do that on these other pages. I mean, right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. I think that's going to be enough because I don't think I need a whole page for every type of section in my life. Now, I mentioned in my first video that I'm not going to necessarily do categories when it comes to setting my goals, but I may do the categories when it comes to brainstorming my goals because I feel like I do need to look at my major life categories to figure out what I want to accomplish. There are certain things that I feel like they're going to be small brainstorms, like even when it comes to fun and adventure, like I kind of do want to keep that here. I don't think you're going to be seeing that as a recurring goal in my quarterly or even monthly areas, just because it's something that I do a decent job with. If you're looking at the trip planning aspect of it, but if you're talking about the social aspect of it, that's one I don't. So I think that's just going to be kind of lumped into social, but for brainstorming purposes, I probably will have that here. So even though I create a category for brainstorming, that may not necessarily end up being a goal category. It just helps me not leave things out when it comes to brainstorming. And I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a mind map where I have a word in the middle and then offshoot, or if I'm just going to list things. We'll figure it out. I'll probably might just go ahead and do that one on camera. And then if I need to do a voiceover while I'm doing it, because I'm finding myself not chatting that much, then I might do the voiceover. But that is all I have for you guys today. I hope it was helpful. I like doing some of these more I don't want to call them boring, but some of these videos where I'm just like chatting with you guys about personal goals and personal reflections, because I feel like sometimes it might like remind you of something in your life that you might have forgot about. So I enjoy watching these videos from other content creators as well, just because, like I said, sometimes it is hard to remember things. I mean, the year's long, even though it flies by, it's a long year. So it's hard to remember things, especially if you don't reflect. So y'all need to reflect, right? Yay. We were going to start reflecting in 2025 if you haven't been doing that already. But that's the reason why I do these videos, because I feel like maybe me talking through them can help you guys if you're forgetting things or things like that. But like I said, I am not an expert. Obviously, you can tell as I went through my reflections, I am so far from a goal expert. It's not even funny. But I feel like some of the things I say may resonate with you or may help you in your goal setting journey. So that is why I am doing this. So with that said, I hope you will join me for future videos. I hope to have one a week, maybe even more if I need to fit more into the schedule. So yeah, hit that like button as well as that subscribe button if you haven't already. And like I said, I hope to see you in future videos. All right, guys, that is all I have for now though. I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.